Okay, so thanks so much, guys, for agreeing to sit down with me. This is really exciting. Lucas, this is totally different for us, hey, from the VOA, now that you're like actually the expert here and I'm just the host.
I know it feels very weird at times, but of course, I know this is a little bit of a different kind of thing we're talking about here because from what I've done with VOA, this is another little pet project I've done with my family for a number of years now, and I'm glad to have
Pet
my wonderful
project. Are
Abby
you
Gates
kidding?
as well.
This is a huge project. This is not a pet project. This thing is amazing. People I know in Kelowna know about it.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Okay, so I do want to ask you about soccer dogs, but I actually want to start with just a question about what do you guys think? Why do you think inclusive sports is important?
Yeah, probably because I know pretty much a lot of it, but I feel from my mom's perspective, I feel that's also important. Yeah,
because everybody belongs to some sort of team. Everybody wants to belong to some sort of team. Some kids are not athletically able to do what other kids can do. So it's like there's got to be a team for everybody to be able to. There's no judging, there's no winners, there's no losers. There's just let's play, let's learn a new sport and meet new people. Parents meet other parents. Yeah, it's just it really 13 years ago started. I had no idea it would be this beautiful. And it is. It's a beautiful team, and we're very proud of it. And these kids just
they're always there,
part of our team.
And you know what, a lot of kids end up doing amazing stuff, and a few of the players end up coming boomerang right back, and now some of them end up are volunteering or end up becoming the next generation of coaches.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, yeah. So you're not only pushing sports skills and social skills, but you're pushing leadership skills as well.
Correct indeed.
That's so great, you guys. How inspiring.
Friendships, you know, it's hard for anybody. It's really hard. It's a hard world to make friends, elementary school, high school,
and even
it's tough.
And even just life in general, it's always been tough for a lot of people because some people it just doesn't click for them, or they just don't understand. That's the whole point of inclusion in today's society. Even though we haven't personally been on the field since 2019 because of course, as of this recording, we're still in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, and hopefully it's over soon. But we hope to be, once things get going again, we are aiming to return in spring of 2022. We're really hoping if things continue to, with people's help getting what they need to do and making a difference, we should be ready to go by spring of 2022.
Hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Well, that's exciting for sure. So Abby, you said you started this 13 years ago.
Yes.
So this is when Lucas was a little squirt. How old were you? 13, 14?
This was in 2007.
Sadie was 11.
Yeah, so I was roughly in middle of high school. Actually, I was in grade 10 at the time, so I was about 15. I was about 14, 15 when this happened.
Yeah, right.
So this was, I remember when this happened. It was, I was actually the talk of the school. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
I remember everyone was like, "Oh, I saw you on TV," and that kind of thing. But
it really wasn't intended to be what it.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But then again,
it was just something that I just knew in my heart when it all happened. I just couldn't just brush it off. It was there's millions of things that I have brushed off, having two kids with diverse abilities.
Me being one of them.
This is one thing, and one time when it hurt me so deeply.
Oh,
I couldn't explain it to Sadie, who was 11 at the time. She has Down syndrome. It was so heartbreaking.
It was brutal. And I even remember the time when you came home after what happened. You were bawling your head off and saying, "We've got to create a team." And the first name that came to mind was Blazing Soccer Dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that come about? How did the name come about?
Well, first of all, the team came about is Sadie. Sadie has a lot of friends. We've created such a really good core group, and they're all kids with diverse abilities.
And it's not because I know we're doing this on behalf of Voice of Autism. Yeah. It's not just autism. No. This is all diverse abilities. Yeah. I want to be frank about that to our VOA community as well. This is not just autism. This is everything.
And one of Sadie's girlfriends was on a soccer team, and the mother of the girl said that they need more players. Are any of you guys interested? And I'm like, okay, Sadie, you want to go play soccer? We've never done any kind of sport, a little bit of special O and stuff like that, but never really gone on a soccer field. And she's like, yeah, I do. And the other girls were like, yeah, absolutely. But the other girls that were coming with Sadie were children with invisible disabilities. Sadie, you can tell, has Down syndrome. So the other girls had like.
Well, also it's also like, you know, like autism, for example. It's an invisible disability.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tell that. But I know, like, people with Down syndrome. It's because, again, a disclaimer for all of the folks, again, with VOA. We want to make sure this is encompassing everything. So again, just want to make that perfectly clear. But when it comes to that kind of community as well, because I'm very well versed in that side as well, people will recognize when people have Down syndrome. You're able to tell straight away. But for people with autism, you just can't, because, you know, they think, oh, like, this is like, I'm bringing up fact years ago when I used to like have sensory overload. People just look at saying, oh, what a bratty kid, or they give me such a stink eye.
Oh, awful.
So it's kind of a weird kind of dual-ended kind of thing there. So
I really saw having one child that you could tell has a special need, and then with Lucas, you couldn't tell, and how the attitudes towards my children from other people
was totally like night and day.
So bizarre.
It was like night and day.
They treated Sadie like it's excusable, okay, that behavior, but Lucas, it's like, get your son off the playground. I mean, it was just, well, it's being So anyways, back to how, so Sadie went to not really try out, just become part of this team.
Yeah.
And so all of us went. It was a local field in Vancouver, and we went, and the kids were playing. As a matter of fact, Sadie was doing amazing.
She loved it.
I mean, they're all brand new 11-year-old soccer.
What do you expect? They're all
kicking a ball in every direction and
just kids.
They're tripping and falling, and it was just so adorable.
And they're just kids too.
I was so excited to see Sadie out there playing, and nobody's scoring. Nobody knows which direction, whatever. It was the cutest thing. And I'm sitting with the other moms, my friends, and I was just so excited. So I went up there, and then when it was all over, the kids came over to us, and the coach came. I went up to the coaches and I'm like, okay, how much do I have to pay for a deposit for the uniform, whatever?
Registration.
Sadie's standing right beside me, and he goes, what did he say to me?
I
need to talk to you about something.
And then,
and I'm like, yeah, and it's okay. And I said, and then then it took like a half a second, and I could just tell by his look towards me, and I was taller than him, so I was looking like down towards him. I know, and I'm like, pardon? He goes, there's just something we need to discuss. And I just had the sickest feeling in me. So I said to Sadie, you know what, Sadie, go over there, play with the girls on the playground. I'll be right over. And the mothers went over there too. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong? And he goes, I knew something was wrong.
This is not good.
And he goes, you know, so-and-so, the mother of the other kid, did not tell me that Sadie had Down syndrome. And if she would be a liability to my team. And if you want, she can wear the jersey, but she would have to sit on the bench. And I looked at him, I'm like, what? Every emotion in me, I couldn't cry, my face, all I can say is, I just remember walking towards the mothers, and one of them looked at me and she goes, what the hell? What's wrong with you, Abby? And I'm like, I literally turned white. I was nauseous. How am I going to explain to my daughter the only reason you can't play is because of the way you look?
Oh, it was just awful.
Was so horrible. So I drove home. I have a big truck. She sat in the back. I was bawling, and she goes, where's my jersey? In her kind of speech, because it's a little hard to understand. I'm like, you know what, Sade? I think we're going to find another team. I think we're going to find our own team. I don't even know what made me say that in my mind. Then, I get home, Gary and Lucas are watching.
By the way, Gary is my dad, by the way.
My husband.
Okay. Yeah, he is not currently in town. As of this recording, he is not in town. So if my dad's watching this, hey, Dad.
Sadie's father, too.
Yeah, great guy,
and we walk in, and Sadie goes and plays in her playroom or whatever. I just sat down, and the two of them, Gary just looked and goes, what? And I don't think I've ever cried so hard.
No, you never.
I could still feel myself getting emotional because it was
heartbreaking.
It was so disrespectful for my beautiful daughter just because she looks a little different than everybody else.
Oh, terrible.
How dare you? But instead of I just remember, I just
And I also remember
that Gary also happens to be in the men's and ladies wear business.
The garment business, by the way.
I just said, you know what? And I looked at Lucas. I said, you know what, Gary, you find somewhere we can get some jerseys. Lucas, you need to name it, get us a logo.
And I did.
And he did, like, it all happened that night. And I said, you know what?
Boom.
I'm going to write a little article to the Vancouver Province.
Which is one of our local papers, I might add.
And it was nothing mean. And I didn't name the park. I didn't name the coach. I named nobody. I said, oh my God, it couldn't mean more than 30 lines of
and I remember
falling my head off.
And then I remember right after
the
that.
Next morning,
boom, they were at our house.
There was, the media was so bizarre, and we're such private sort of people like everybody else. It's like, it was
a media circus
from all across Canada. We ended up on every TV spot.
Oh my goodness.
Over and over. We had donations roaring in. This family in Toronto, for instance, just had a baby born with Down syndrome. He's donating all the cleats.
It was crazy.
We had another woman in North End. She goes, I don't care, for as many years as you want, I'm donating all the uniforms, all the equipment. And we're like, we were so bombarded.
Oh, and
we had the BC Soccer Association contact me, and they said, there's no need to do this. We will do this. And I said, you know what? You now will do it? No, this has happened already yesterday or the day before. I'm doing it now.
And guess
I know nothing. I don't even know from soccer from the whole line. I know what a soccer ball looks like.
And you know what? Actually, speaking about soccer, going back to soccer, do you remember also? I want to bring up something really cool because it's
the
also
Whitecaps.
Yep,
the Whitecaps.
The Whitecaps also sent us something really nice too, and because I want to reference that because
they home delivered it. Somebody came, a representative
from the Whitecaps, when they were still in D2,
came to our home with a huge board, every autograph from all the Vancouver, and we weren't looking for donations or nothing. Oh my God, it was family, grandparents, everybody wanted to be part of this team. It was.
And I mean, it was super. And this, remember, this was before the Whitecaps went to the next level up. This was when they were still in Division 2 soccer. So this was like what they are.
The opening day, I think we had like 32 kids.
Oh my goodness.
We had so much to give them. We had backpacks full of all this. There was so much. Our garage was like over. It was the most beautiful. I still have all those letters that all the parents were emailing me.
And that's actually unbelievable.
When my child was turned away from a team, my child was turned away from a team, my child, there were too many rules. It just didn't blend in. We had a beautiful child with cancer even on our team. This is the first time this little boy was able to put on.
And he sadly passed away a year after he joined our team, and we were. He
slept in his.
Yeah, it was just one cry. Don't cry. It's okay.
You guys gave him a great year.
There's so many stories. And one mother captured it on the opening day ceremony when she said, you guys have totally created, and we were looking out and there's all this media and parents and all these little kids.
Field of Dreams.
In green. All you can see is green little uniforms. They're running in their little soccer outfits.
Oh, it's just amazing.
And she goes, you know what you've created? You totally created the Field of Dreams. So that's the first time I ever heard that saying. I didn't realize it was a movie.
No, well, of course, the old fashioned, if you build it, they will come.
I said, I am so stealing that. I didn't realize it was already out there. It was so beautiful. And we're here 13 years later, and the stories, the kids that come, they go,
Well, and also, we've also done a lot of volunteer. We have had a lot of people who come through, volunteer, give their time back. And a lot of them, believe it or not, I will straight this enough, a lot of them end up going into the field that help for all.
Oh my God, so many of the kids, that's right, Lucas, are volunteers. They were like a lot of university students, a lot of high school students.
Mainly high school.
They had a road that they were driven, that they were going to be going through in life. Once they got on our team, one wanted to be an OT, one wanted to be physiotherapy with kids with special needs, wanted to be a speech. It was on how many reference letters.
Oh my goodness.
One of my committee ladies had to keep writing for all these.
And you know what? Actually, speaking of things, because of this actually happening, I completely blew off all my volunteer hours from high school.
Well, the volunteers too that vote that, I don't even know why I thought of this, but you know what? Volunteering with our team, because I mean, we have every
super high needs
and issues, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I told all these parents, you will come, your kid, if they're having a tantrum, if they're running off field, whatever, it's always,
don't care.
We have lots of one-to-one. Nobody sticks out. Like this is one place we all blended, because everywhere you go, you have to be a special needs parent to really understand this. We stick out everywhere. We go to the park, we stick out. You go to a restaurant, we stick. The Blazing Soccer Dogs field, we brought big travelers of Starbucks coffee.
At the time, well, we don't do that anymore.
We don't do that anymore. We have donuts donated. We're like just garbage food. But this is a way for the parents. There was one rule: you're not allowed to step on the field. You sit, you have coffee, you meet other parents. The kids are all 1-to-1.
It was amazing.
It's
been, and you know what?
Yeah.
And don't forget, over the years, we branched out also into, because there was also higher needs for other things. So since 2008, when our team is kicked off, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
We've actually added 2 new other divisions to the squad. So we've actually added, so I think it was 2000, the following fall season, we added a younger kids, wasn't it that the year?
The pups.
The pups, which is our young kids. So like these kids, it's sort of like academy in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So basically, so these kids do like, the more we get together, sign language, all the kind of fun little kiddie kind of stuff.
The warm up stuff.
The warm up, and it's really cute because one of our head coach also is affiliated with Canucks Autism Network, and I know he's brought a lot of his experience back to us, and that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then with the dogs being the middle one.
Yep.
And then around 2012, I think that's when it happened. We actually had a few of our dogs, the more mature, like the really mature
good
ones,
players,
which were really good.
Oh.
They were like really.
Oh my gosh.
These guys are great.
Yeah.
But anyway, what happened was they got bored.
Yeah.
They got bored. So
you made a new division.
So what happened was fortunately we had another donation kick in.
Yeah.
And what happened was we created a third division, which we call the Rain City Wolves. Basically, I wanted to make it a little different for them.
That was Luke's team.
That's my personal division because I know a lot of the guys on the team. And in fact, the best part about the Wolves is that they're actually teaching the next generation how to be players. So they're now volunteering to be coaches. And
they have to volunteer while the pups and the dogs play, and then the last hour and a half they then play, and they usually end up playing against the coaches. There's such high,
or they do we do split.
And some of the parents also.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends. It depends. It depends on how many guys we have. Sometimes we might not have enough players. We try to basic make it as fair as possible for both sides to give them that much more of an edge. Not that much more of an edge,
but really a village, because when we had all this idea and it was starting to form, I grouped about 6. Yeah, there's like 6 of us, and maybe there's 7 of us now. Mothers of Sadie's really good friends, and I took them for coffee, and I said, "This is," and Luke's, definitely.
Oh yeah.
And I took them for coffee, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to ask you guys something, but this is a commitment. If you want to do it, you have to commit with me. You can't quit after a year or 2. There's no pay in it. It's just." I want you to be part of my committee, but you're all going to have different things to do. Like one girl, like I say, was writing all the reference letters. Another would look after the equipment, like just stuff that we all had to do. And they're still with me to this day.
Yep. You know what?
Same group of moms.
Yeah. And you know what? It's absolutely, I mean, all the team players that have come through, like a lot of them actually ended up becoming like really good. We've all become, a lot of them have become good friends. We've grown up together. In fact, the funny thing is though, one of my best friends, who I will not reference by name, but he does do another podcast, which I won't publicly state here, but definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
You remember how we first met?
Yeah.
So here's the funny story. He might remember this too. So what happened was on our first season, by the way, he has a CP, cerebral palsy, and I've asked him if that's the correct term. He said, not a problem. Yeah. I asked him politely.
We always ask people the correct terms, because I want to know correct terms. Terms are important. A lot of people say different things, but I want to know, am I offending you when I say just want to know anything? Like I would want to, I don't like when somebody refers to Sadie, for instance, as a Downs person. She's not a Downs person. She's a young girl with Down syndrome.
So it's all dependent on pronunciation, which is a good point to bring up for our community, because identity versus person first language.
Right.
So we have to. That's why we keep it very honest and very open. Going back to what I was talking about, my friend. Anyway, so what happened was he came onto the field. He used to give like the biggest hugs,
and lift you up.
You lift you up?
Oh, Lucas was, yeah.
I'm not like I was. I was not like I am now.
So he just loved Lucas.
No, he would like literally just come lunging and give me like a big hug and say, "Get away from me! Get away from me!" And he's like crying like all the time. We since made up.
Now
And
they're best friends, and they're both 6'2".
so realistically, that's why him having inclusivity and friendship is important, because it's not just a matter of, playing on the field, but it's also, what happens afterwards. Like, for example, I never really disclosed this because I don't want to but you remember after the season, after that season was done, we kept all the wolves, and then we went down the street to that restaurant with all the wolves guys.
Yeah.
Remember that? Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
So we treated the wolves after the season was done.
Dairy Queen
and Orange Julius was so much fun. Just why not? Because you know what, it was the Halloween game, and you know what, they deserved the absolute props because they've been working their butts off the whole season.
Yep.
Totally worth it.
Exactly.
You guys, this is fantastic. I don't even have questions. You went above and beyond anything I wanted to know.
And also don't forget, also inclusive sports could go to other things too. Like, look what we've done.
Our gala came out of it too.
Yes.
All our volunteers from Soccer Dogs. Oh, by the way, if you volunteer on our team, you get double the hours. So if you volunteer 4 hours, you get right down for 8 hours, because it's such a different kind of volunteer position. I mean, they could go work at the Carrizal Community Center and volunteer, and it's easy. You come to our team, it isn't easy. It's different. But you know what? I don't think we've had one volunteer say, no, we haven't. There's no way.
No,
I can't do this. We always tell them, if Johnny is a little too difficult for you, to let us know. I've never once had one of my volunteers, because the head coach, who's very familiar with the autism community, plus he's, everybody's sort of alike, like people with Down syndrome, very visual, people on the spectrum, very visual, Tourette syndrome, very visual.
Oh yeah, they're all
kind of all the same.
It's all in lumped together. Yeah.
So our head coach, because there's like this way down for coaches, he will help the volunteer. Okay, hold on. Johnny doesn't really understand this, so sit down. Let's start again. And it's like, wow, it's like all these life lessons that these young volunteers who become off to go to university, like in Toronto and all these places. And they always check in, touch base. How's the Blazing Soccer Dogs doing? Do you remember me? And we're like, oh my God, of course we remember.
No, and a lot of it, and I mean, the funny thing though is now the next generation's coming through, because. You
want to hear another cool story? There was a professor out at UBC. This was really cool, in kinesiology. Is that what?
I think it is.
Anyways, he was an professor. He told all of his students, you have to go volunteer with us. He said, you have to go volunteer with the Blazing Soccer Dogs for 1 season. If you don't, you fail my course. We had his whole class come out. Yeah. We had another whole grade 7 class come out and be volunteers from McKechnie.
Which is our school, which is where we play.
It's unreal. It takes a massive village, and that's we may have started it. But
it's like the old-fashioned saying from that movie: if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. It's so true. And in fact, going off from the Soccer Dogs, we built another exciting village with the galas, which actually I also will disclaimer there, because this is also an event that is also partnered with.
That I started because of you. Because of grad.
Oh right. So basically, we could go on for days in this conversation. It's incredible.
Give it to me. Let's hear it.
So
when Lucas was in grade 12, when Lucas started grade 8, they asked me are you focused on getting him the dogwood, the certificate, right?
The certificate of full graduation.
I'm like, easy. Were you kidding? No, oh my God, because he was just all over. It was very difficult, grade 8. And so I'm like, no, just get him to grade 12. We'll figure out something after. He'll work for his father, whatever. And grade 8 was awful. So grade 9, he was nominated. No, he won.
He won
for the most improved student. So then the counselor looked at me. She goes, "Are you going to go for the dogwood?" I said, "Hell yeah, he is going for his dogwood. Are you kidding me? He's going to graduate from high."
And I got in then.
And it was hard. Not saying it wasn't. 5 years of very hard. But at the grad, Lucas couldn't go to the dance and all that. He didn't want to. Something.
I just didn't want it.
Didn't want to
because I was also it was not just because I was exhausted.
Not only that, it's because look who joined our team at the very beginning and ruined all the balloon display. That's how we got them.
Oh my goodness.
We can't really say the
No, we
name,
can't, but I mean,
but one of the families that came on our field at the very first day
actually has connections to the Pacific Optic Family Network. We're not going to say
we had a huge
we're not going to say who,
rainbow
but
of balloons.
Still know who it is.
We had a big rainbow of balloons, and their son, and who cares? We don't care. Went and was popping them or whatever. None of us even noticed. Well, I got home and I had an email from this mother, and she said, "Please forgive me. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. If you ever need anything, I'll be able to help you out in the future." And she told me more stuff, but I'm not going to say what she told me.
Because you know what? It's really funny.
It turned out, like, talk about a full circle. So it turned out that our gala is held in a very, very, very. If anybody wants information about the gala, maybe you'll post.
Well, I'll also share it as well.
Full circle, because this family jumped in full force.
Oh,
you have this gala. We are supporting it. We're doing and it's like the gala it was supposed to be our 10th gala last year because of COVID. Of course, it's canceled.
Well, we're going to.
So 10 years with the gala, and this is for people 15 and older with diverse abilities. It is the most beautiful evening of their life. Parents, again, are not allowed.
Bye. You know what? We actually, for a couple of years, we actually had where they could go get a drink and go have some just a wet bar or something.
It's in downtown Vancouver, and they have the time of their freaking life.
And the best
DJ dancing, food,
and actually. And also we've
actually
I'm the MC, and we actually also had donations across the board from certain organizations. And the last few years we actually had two particular sports organizations chip in. I'm not going to say who they are.
What have we given away?
Oh my goodness!
Over the 10 years.
Over 10 years, I think it was 130 iPads.
130 kids won brand new iPads. Wow. All from donations. All from, and I'm not going to people and begging for money. People kind of come to us and say, we want to be part. And when we were doing the iPad thing, I'd say, you know what, donate an iPad. Well, when Lucas and Gary went to the Apple store, the guy was like, the guy was like, who bought? It's like, did you give them a discount or anything? They're like, they can't do that. They're just walking out of the store with like 30 iPads at a time. Like, what the heck? And unveiling it at the gala.
Oh, and don't forget the last.
So we were kind of known for, if you go to that gala, you have a really good chance.
And we actually unfortunately had to stop that after a little incident. But the good thing though is we actually replaced it with something even epicer. You remember the last event where we gave away those Amazon?
Oh, jeez. Every kid. Oh my God, yeah. So what is it called?
It was called an Echo Dot. We actually had Amazon. We gave everyone in that facility. I already had one myself. So what I did was I actually programmed it to say it. Oh my.
Lucas was up there and goes, okay, everybody. And then you said, Alexa. And then she goes, everybody here has.
And I programmed it to say, everyone going home with an.
The crowd went friggin' insane.
They went nuts.
And another really quick story, I got to tell this because our top coach in soccer always volunteers at our galas. Like I say, all the coaches, they all want to come. It's just such a fun night. It's not even working or whatever. It's just fun. They all get dinners. I have a bar if they want to drink or whatever. Anyways, our top coach proposed to his fiance there. He was on his hands and knees. Or in his knees, and all the kids were all around him. And then all of a sudden, Lucas said something, and all the kids parted. And there was his girlfriend at the very end, and she's like, and he goes, I won't say her name. And she's looking. She had no idea.
And they proposed, and she said yes. And
she said yes, and we got them a gorgeous suite. He said it was the best night of their lives.
And yeah, we actually went to their. We actually would have been at their.
Yep.
Their wedding, but in fact, actually, funny enough,
so many stories like.
And you know what? Funny enough, we actually had another couple meet up, and in fact, they actually have 2 kids, and one of them happens to be on the spectrum.
Yeah, two. They met on our team. They both were coaches, fell in love, had 2 children, and their daughter is on the spectrum. What are the odds of that?
What are the odds? So they, of course,
and we went to their wedding. They invited us.
Oh, it was, and in fact, our first gala. I will state this enough. That was easily one of the craziest years we've ever done it because it was right
when
the Cup Finals in 2011. And funny enough, how time comes around because I'm affiliated with them nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
So who knows? I'm looking at the possibility for next year.
A million stories. There's just some really funny stories, some really, really sad stories.
But it's been
like helping other families and just helping other families, even the hardships that going through school. It's so hard when you're just by yourself. You don't know who, and all these parents are parents of special needs. Where can you go in this world and just have 30 groups of parents and nobody's judging? They all have the same story. Maybe some know some really good things to do with their kids, like starting high school. That's the most difficult year, at least it was for us with Lucas.
Oh, grade 8. Don't even bring that up.
To have another parent be going on that journey with me. Now this team brings it. This brings
and it's also majorly a lot to do with community as well. That's why we should all come together, help each other out in times of need, and mentorship. That's just something
and play some soccer.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's also good for their physical activity.
Oh, they never stop.
Run.
It's like from what were our hours? 9:30 to 12:30, 1 o'clock, nonstop.
On a Saturday morning, which again, we'll announce the details for.
And they all get little trophy. I mean, it's just.
You know what? Because it's not like it's supposed to be competitive. It's because it's not like we're playing like it.
Except for the Wolves.
The Wolves are a little tough.
They play. There's no messing around.
No, but I mean it depends on what they're doing. But I mean for the pups and dogs, they're there just to have fun. But for Wolves, they're trying to get in that game.
And it's free. We don't charge anything. Nobody has to pay a cent.
Because we know.
Because it's so expensive. I know, having especially 2 kids, all the therapy, speech, especially for Sadie, we get no funding with people with Down syndrome. Autism gets funding, even though we got none for Lucas.
I didn't need it. I really didn't need it.
Sadie, not a thing. And she needed speech, she needed reading, so all these parents to have a free
open program that they can come in.
The only thing they have to do is give us a $50 deposit, which they get back at the end of the season, just so we get our whole uniform back. Because those, even though they're donated,
it still adds up.
Yeah. And they all end up saying, you know what, keep the $50, keep it, put towards your team. It's like, yeah.
Well, sometimes we do want to make sure that we're replenishing just in case something, just rainy day, just in case something goes south. Happens.
Like something we break down. Yeah, exactly. But
so just to wrap up here, because I don't want to keep you guys all day. What can you tell me about your plans for reopening in 2022? What are you looking at in terms of exciting new events? Where are you going to be playing?
Well, actually, SF, I could probably answer that question. At this time, we're looking, again, we are exploring the possibility. Again, this is something we are looking at. We're hoping to get started again in April of 2022, barring any further things. But the long term is because we've actually had a fall season that's completely gets rained out half the year.
We're not allowed to play in the rain. It's the Vancouver School Board rule.
Don't ask. It's a very silly policy.
In Vancouver, it's like, are you serious?
But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the plan is hopefully down the road is that we'll be adding on to the beginning of the season. So we'll go from spring break to summer break.
Yeah.
So you start right after when you need something to do during the 2 weeks of spring break that kids need something to do. So
it all depends what the Vancouver School Board gives us, because everybody's renting these fields.
Yeah, but I mean, it all depends. But I mean, that's our intent is to move in that direction going forward, because if we're going to lose the fall season, then we add up 2 weeks before. It really doesn't make much of a difference. The gala, we can also confirm, is coming back. We're hoping to do it in before. Yeah, well, the year before we had to do it in May because of my obligations with another commitment around that time during a normal commitment. Let's just say it was something to do with the Canucks, but
it all depends honestly on where we're at with COVID and like we just.
But I mean, it's a lot of unknowns, but this is like literally over half a year away.
Oh, I've been getting emails from parents. It's like, when's it going to start? I'm like, I honestly
don't know. But the good thing,
and I tell them, just, go to Special O right now. Look into Special Olympics. Look into Canuck Autism. I mean,
No, Canucks Autism.
Look at these, because they all have different things. Like,
but I mean, we are coming back.
Oh, we're definitely.
We are. We're not. We're even if COVID has put us on the bench for right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's fine. We're going to be coming back bigger and stronger and better than ever. In fact, I can confirm right now, we are now Vancouver Soccer Dogs FC.
Oh, that's great.
As a way to restart ourselves, because it's a new era. You know, we're coming into a new decade. We're coming in fresh-minded, because even though our name, we've had the name for so long, that is still technically our nickname. You can still call us Blazing Soccer Dogs. We're still the Blazing Soccer Dogs at heart. It's just a way that we're representing our city and our pride of what we've done, because we're believing in endless possibilities and showcasing our strength, because we're now coming into our, like, we're going to be coming into like 15 years of operations. So I mean, that's a way to look into what's ahead, because we've already passed a decade, and I mean, we're not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, nope. We'll be back.
We will be back stronger than ever. Our gala is going to come back even bigger, stronger than ever. I've already started recruiting, seeing who's interested in assisting this year. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
And the old, I guess you could say, the sky's looking not only blue, but the turf's looking green, and let's get back on the turf and let's get back.
Play some soccer.
Let's get back on the pitch and get some footy going again.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, you guys. Thanks for sharing that information. I am so excited. I had no idea the history behind Soccer Dogs.
Oh, and to be honest, for your viewers as well, there's so much more out there in the world of accessible sports and stuff. And as someone who knows this all too well growing up, because there's been a lot also that I've also gone programs and I just it didn't work out. Like I did baseball once, didn't work out. Gymnastics.
That's another good program out there. It's called Challenger Baseball.
Yes.
Oh, Sadie did it. Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, so definitely look into that. It wasn't for me personally, but
you were not a big sports guy.
I wasn't a big sports guy at the time, but in terms of like being a fan and stuff, but in overall, everyone has their own give and take, and just make sure you hone the kiddos' strength, and if they have something that they're gifted at, go and hone on that ability.
Everybody's got a place to go. Everybody. There's a lot out there now. And especially us, we're open to anybody.
And you know what? And Soccer Dogs, we're always open, keeping our doors open. We actually did a virtual season this last year, so at least we kept the kids
and if anybody's interested in volunteering, double the volunteer hours and come see us, because we would love to.
And of course, visit our website for more information. Yeah. We're even though we don't have much at this time, doesn't mean that we're still working to get the season going in early 2022.
And anybody can come even watch a game. It's just a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Saturday morning, bring your coffee, come watch. It's beautiful.
And it's a fun event. Just come out and just have some fun.
Totally.
That's great.